Hi guys, and welcome to the second week of Babbling Brummies. Today we're going to talk about the Champions League draw with some midweek fixtures and other discussion topics, really.
Especially COVID, because COVID's been a big thing, especially this week. A lot of matches called off. Where's it going to go? Because we all know 2 years ago, the league got postponed, lower leagues got cancelled. We'll get all into that as we go on. But what we really wanted to start with today is one of the biggest controversies, isn't it, Jay? What was this controversy?
So the Champions League draw.
Yeah. So, if you don't know, I'll just a little bit of a background on it. So, I think for the first time ever, maybe, there was an error in the draw for the Champions League. They always show when they're doing the draw, they have the names in little balls. Even at the end, they show which ones are left in there to prove that there was no error or anything like that. But for the first time ever, I believe, they had to redo the draw. And the reason for this was it was to do with Man United, and they were left off a list of possible opponents for Atletico Madrid, I think, instead of Villarreal. And because Villarreal and United were in the same group, and it caused a lot of controversy. I know Real Madrid didn't want the draw to be redone, or they wanted only half of the draw to be redone, basically because they had an easy draw.
Yeah.
And then they turned out to be playing PSG now, which is actually quite hilarious. But what do you think about this, Jay?
I think ultimately I understand if you play to one in the groups why you won't want to have to play them instantly again. The game's happened twice, I suppose. TV-wise, it's not really entertaining.
Yeah.
However, it's happened, and yeah, they've seen the error. Certain teams are going to be delighted. Certain teams are going to be raging, i.e. Real Madrid. Teams like Chelsea aren't really going to feel anything from it because they got Lille twice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, did you see about the Chelsea fan?
No.
So there was a Chelsea fan,
Yeah.
if you look it up. He bought, as soon as the first draw was done, he bought tickets to Lille for the Champions League,
Yeah.
cancelled his tickets,
and
then at the moment the refund came through, they redrew Lille. The man was raging. Look at I was crying.
I saw on Twitter actually someone say, as soon as it's done, I saw all the controversy come in, and someone actually tweeted there's going to be fans who have brought tickets off this draw, and now it might have all that, because it is a massive thing. Like, you'll have clubs claiming unfairness.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have fans who have brought tickets, like money going down the drain for them potentially.
Oh, yeah.
And like just Real Madrid. I mean, I don't really like the Real Madrid ownership. They seem to be very arrogant. Like, even with the Super League stuff, they don't want to stop talking about the Super League.
Oh, no.
Which they want to carry on. But like the fact that they got drawn.
Let's not get into Super League because I'm still in disbelief that Tottenham somehow got pulled into that.
Yeah.
Like,
Out of all the teams you could pick, Tottenham Hotspur. But like Real Madrid, first draw they had was a pretty. I mean, there's no easy games in the Champions League, is there? Let's be fair. But when you go from one of the easiest draws to play probably one of the hardest draws, it can be quite annoying. But it's also nice because it was Real Madrid. Was it Benfica they had first time? I think
it was someone like that,
yeah. But going from playing Benfica, who you'd say one of the lowest ranked teams in the draw, to then going to play PSG.
You say that, but if anything, technicality-wise,
Yeah.
Liga NOS is in a higher bracket than the French league now. Apparently, it's in the
That's
top
true.
5 leagues,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
French league is technically in the 6th league.
Yeah, and like I know what you mean, because it was so funny when Messi moved there that he moved to try. I know he wanted to stay at Barcelona, but maybe prove himself a little bit in this league. I mean, they got dropped to the 6th.
To have an iconic footballer like Messi move
Yeah,
to France, it was such a massive thing. The whole football world was grasped by it in terms of, City wanted him, all these big teams were after him, and then he goes to France, and then they literally go, nah, lad, Portuguese league's better than you. Soz.
I mean, there's only really two teams in League One at the moment, which is Lille, who was coming out of nowhere, winning the league last year, and now smashing Champions League football. But like, if you look at the draw, this was the initial declared, the initial draw, which was declared void, because of Manchester United being in the wrong pots, not being in certain pots. So they actually had PSG in the first round. That was their draw for the round of 16. So going from PSG to Atletico, even though they're both great teams, I probably think that's a better listing. You're not facing Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. You're facing
I don't know.
a slightly out of form Atletico. I know they're like second or third in the Liga, but when you got Barcelona doing as bad as they are, they're not as good. I think. I mean, you saw them in the group stages when in Liverpool's group, didn't you? They weren't. I mean, Liverpool got 6 wins out of 6.
Oh yeah, like Liverpool. Liverpool's one of them teams. If you're any of them teams, you want to avoid Liverpool as far as you can go. Like, you want them in a hopeful one-off final.
Yeah, and that's what it is, isn't it? Like Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world at the moment.
Liverpool went from Salzburg. Who did they get?
So then they got Inter Milan. So again, probably an upgrade in terms of...
Who did Salzburg get hit with? Sorry.
Salzburg got Bayern Munich. I mean, you go from one giant to another giant. Probably 2 of the favourites for the whole thing this year.
Yeah.
We got Man City, Liverpool and Bayern. I think probably the 3 favourites.
I just don't think... I think we'll get onto transfer window anyway, but I think Man City are just lacking that firepower at the moment.
I mean, you say that. I mean, we're about to go into midweek fixtures in a minute. Yeah. Firepower. They just won 7-0. We can move into that. I mean, the Champions League was a bit of a farce, wasn't it? But it's over now, and we're going ahead with a draw. The second draw was picked. I mean, for me, it wasn't that big of an error, but it's just nice to see Real Madrid a bit unhappy, especially with
of course,
with their owner. But yeah, so midweek fixtures, which just happened. I'll just go through the scores quickly before we talk about them. It has Liverpool, Newcastle 3-1 to Liverpool. Chelsea, Everton 1-1. Arsenal 2-0 against West Ham. Wolves beat Brighton away 1-0. Crystal Palace versus Southampton was 2-2. Both these teams hadn't won on a Wednesday, so Crystal Palace at home or Southampton away since the 1990s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. Man City 7-0 against Leeds and Norwich. Villa 2-0 to Villa away from home. Should we start with Norwich Villa? That's the first one.
What can you really say about this? Villa tied up and
Dean Smith back at Villa for the first time.
Oh yeah, like seeing his team again for the first time, and the youth really was what won this game for Villa.
Yeah,
you know, Jacob Ramsey, is that his name?
He's doing well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Ramsey's doing
Have you seen
well.
his goal?
I haven't seen his goal.
He runs for about 4 players. And
oh yes, I have seen it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lovely goal. And the second one, yeah, Ollie Watkins scored it, but it was all about this. I can't pronounce his or say his name, but this young 18. Chukwuemeka. He literally does 3 players on the wing and then just puts it on a plate. Gerrard, Watkins couldn't miss.
Gerrard seems to be liking these young players at Villa, and he could actually. I mean, I know you don't want him to do well. Jamie's a Blues fan. I'm a City fan. If you didn't,
Gerrard will use youth though. He'll bring through the youth.
I think he could do quite well. I mean, he's lost 2 games against the 2 biggest teams in England, but he's also not really had that much of a challenging game.
And let's be
so
fair,
far.
he lost 2-1 and 1-0.
Yeah.
He didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't turn up and they didn't walk the floor. They were 2-0 down at half time to Man City and he came out like a new team.
I'd like to see, though, how Aston Villa fare against teams maybe where they'd want to finish, like maybe against the Leicesters, maybe against the...
No, I know what you're saying.
The Wolves. So who have they played so far since he took over? So they played, obviously, Liverpool and Man City. They've played... I mean, they've won 5, haven't they? Lost 2.
Yeah, so he's...
So they beat Crystal Palace, I suppose, but still, for an Aston Villa team who did so well last season, you'd want to be finishing at quite a lot higher than...
I'll still stick by my 8th to 12th.
I think that would be a respectable position considering
and I think,
where they were.
especially if Gerrard's bringing through the youth, I think 8 to 12 is a fantastic finish.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite the Arsenal way of doing it, but it's definitely I want a couple of these young guns in around this team. Each game, I want to grow them. I want to get them more game time. I want to get them more experience.
I mean, I just said about wanting to see against teams more their level, but they did beat Leicester, I just seen, 5th of December, 2-1. I mean, Leicester aren't in the greatest form, but that's still a big result for Gerrard.
I suppose at that point, though, you had Leicester going into the Europa League, trying to sort that out.
and failing miserably.
I mean, to be fair, they had Napoli on the last game. Like, you do feel for them a little bit. Like, Napoli are an experienced Italian team.
Yeah.
And as we learned from the summer, we don't really fare well against Italians.
Nope, not at all.
Scumbags.
And then we had Man City Leeds. Quite a close game, this one. 7-0.
Yeah.
Manchester City. Jack Grealish finally getting on the score sheet again for the first time since August, I believe it was.
I'm willing to be wrong. It could be one of the first headers I've ever seen him score as well.
It might be. I mean, he doesn't like to mess up that hair too often, does he?
No, he's got a fat forehead, don't he? So he just...
So,
I know I spoke about firepower, so I look like a hypocrite here. However, Leeds are still reeling from a lot of injuries. They've got quite a depleted squad. They've been on an awful run of form.
Well, Bielsa said after... I always say his name wrong, but I want to say Bielsa. He said...
Bielsa, yeah, you're pretty much there.
He said he has no positives to take from this game at all. He said it's the worst performance he's ever seen from a team he's managed. No positives.
But I think if you're a Leeds fan, like I'm friends with a Leeds fan, and he texts me midway through the game, and I'm not going to repeat the wording on a podcast. However, long and short of it, we are awful. And I literally said to him, I was like, listen, it's a free game for you. You take the hit. This was a game where you look at the beginning of the season and you go, right, probably not going to get anything from that, and that's okay.
I mean, you don't want this sort of goal difference, but like we were saying last week, the goal difference of the top three squad teams...
Well, Man City were the furthest back, so that catches them up a lot on Liverpool.
Only 5 teams, I don't know if it's still the same, but only 5 teams in positive goal difference, and then the top 3 with plus 25 at least each. And this is the sort of match that shows why. 24 shots Man City had, 15 on target, to Leeds 5. If they scored every shot they had, only 3 of them on target, they would have still lost 7-5.
It's a madness, isn't it? Like...
It was unreal. Possession 65%, 35.
And this is what we're saying about if they get a striker, danger,
deadly. And I reckon.
Did Big Gabriel play, or did they just not play him again? Did they just mug him off? Oh yeah, cool.
They just don't like playing strikers. I think he did. No, he didn't even come on. He stayed on the bench.
Literally on the bench.
Raheem was on the bench. Oh my days! They just. I mean, they played 6 midfielders pretty much. Rodri, Silva, Mahrez, Grealish.
They're doing like they're doing the 2012 Spain, aren't they? When they just rock like a Cesc Fabregas as a false 9. Like,
but Man City destroyed it. I mean, like Crystal Palace, Southampton, the next match. Like I said,
good game actually.
Yeah, well, I mean,
End
it was
to end.
Great free kick from Ward-Prowse. I hate to say, but it was. I mean, it wasn't a free kick in the first place. But
have you seen? He's like, I think he's only 4 or 5 free kicks off being the all-time free kick top goal scorer.
He's a great free kick taker. But it wasn't a free kick. And if you saw it a foul, it was definitely not a foul. But
you get what you get.
Crystal Palace at home. I think it was 1993 was the last time they won at home on a Wednesday. And I think for Southampton, so like 1997, last time they won away on a Wednesday night. So it was, it was it was a big one. But with stats like that, you're only going to end up with a draw, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it had a draw written all over it.
I think Palace were unlucky though because they played. I think they played well. They had more shots on target, better possession.
But that's all about they're still trying to adjust to the Vieira philosophy, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, Benteke was very unlucky not to score right at the end. But
it's Benteke though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very much hit and miss. A lot of the time more miss than hit. But
considering how he's been the last 4 to 5 years, though, this is one of his most prolific seasons.
Yeah,
weirdly enough to say. He's
had a good season this season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously fans will always remember the season he had at Villa when he was unreal.
Before he went to Liverpool.
Yeah, like, that man was scoring free kicks that year and everything. Like, he was just unstoppable.
Unplayable, yeah. It's sort of like Antonio has been for West Ham this season. Not the same sort of player, but the same dominance for a non-top 6 side. I mean, you could argue West Ham and building.
Antonio's always been there, I think, but now he's got the confidence.
But actually,
he's strong.
For the last few games, he's not been. I think he's had 1 shot in the last 5 games or 4 games.
But I think a lot of the time that's also his game. He can be that runner. He can bully defenders, but he can also hold the ball up.
But it's interesting to see West Ham's dropping form in line with Antonio's dropping form.
Yeah, of course. And Bowen's trying.
Yeah, Bowen's
Lanzini's
really
trying.
Recently.
But I think
Fornals as well is playing all right.
And I think the fatigue of. Bear in mind, they have also just lost Gabriel Ogbonna for the season.
That was a big loss.
Who's massive for them. Like, he's been incredible at the back this year.
And well, we'll do Arsenal first. Actually, so on West Ham already. Big win for Arsenal against a top 4 rival. We're going to be talking about Arsenal a bit more in a bit about how I think they're going to get top 4. with this team. A lot of youngsters in the team playing well. Arteta seeming to starting to turn around his form as a manager pretty much, because he started off a lot of expectation but didn't really follow through. But now you're starting to see follow through. Maybe the stuff he implemented early coming in now, and they're in 4th place at the moment. I mean, Manchester United have a game in hand on them, but they're in 4th place. From losing your first 3 games of the season to here, it's a big turnaround.
Well, yeah, massively. It's a massive turnaround. You went from being bottom of the league after 3 games
and losing to like Brentford.
Well, yeah, Brentford first game of the season, you know, and they all wanted Arteta's head at this point.
Yeah.
So they've gone from Arteta out and we can't deal with this anymore. This isn't great, and now they're pushing top 4. And I suppose Arsenal fan TV isn't as interesting lately, is it? Really? Like,
it's I mean, they're not beating the big teams really at the moment.
And I think the Liverpool game there the other week is a testament to that.
And there's a YouTuber I watch who's a massive Arsenal fan, and he said actually that even though they're losing these games and they're not playing too well in them, because of the amount, I mean, 9 out of the 11 of their first team players are under 24. So just the experience of playing these big games in the years to come is going to be vital for them. So the way he looked at it was the fact that they're going to be taking these losses on the chin and gaining some vital experience for these young players.
Well, yeah, lessons learned, innit?
Yeah.
You don't take it as a painful loss. You take it, right, what can we work on next time?
And if they can win all the games except for the big games, they could still sneak top 4 quite easily.
Top 4's there. It's there to be grabbed. There's about 4 teams around it that someone's going to bottle it. Someone's going to slip up.
And it could be Man United, it could be Arsenal.
You know, I can still see an Antonio Conte's team starting to appear. Yeah. You can see Leicester, if they go on a good enough run of form, they're looking like they're picking up again now.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Tottenham, they're not as low down as you think they will be after that. I mean, Nunes didn't do that bad.
I mean, they are 7th.
7th, but with 3 games in hand. But if they win all 3 games in hand, they go to 34 points, and they're 3 points behind 3rd place.
That's the thing, Tottenham are...
And I don't know how many Tottenham actually lost with Conte.
They lost against the lowest team in the Conference League the other week.
I mean, in the league.
I think that's
in the league.
Their only loss under him?
But 14 games played. If they win 1 of the games, they go up to 5th. If they win 2, they go up to 4th. And if they win 3, they're 3 points behind Chelsea in 3rd. I mean, you're right. Conte could bring... I mean, Nunes didn't do too bad, did he?
No, and I think Nunes was criminally underrated for it as well. I mean, even look at Leicester, goal difference-wise. If Leicester batter someone, you know, their goal difference is going to be healthily jumping over a few teams as well.
And like, there's definitely, I think, from Leicester upwards. I mean, even Villa on 22 points.
No.
Any of them from 10th up could make if with a good run of form, could make a run for 4th place.
No, I think so.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, I think Arsenal, we sort of moved into this category already, but we'll go back to the midweek fixtures in a minute. I think Arsenal have a real chance at it.
But I think there's a little bit of turmoil in the club at the minute.
With Aubameyang.
Yeah, with the captain stripped, like their captaincy's been stripped off Aubameyang.
Rightfully so, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Who's took over as captain, by the way? Is it Xhaka again?
I'm not sure. Let me just look.
Because Xhaka was stripped, wasn't he?
He was stripped, but that's because he didn't ever go to the Arsenal fans.
Well, yeah, but... And I mean, Aubameyang was all about the fans and he loved appearing and...
Yeah.
But...
So I don't think the new captain's confirmed at the moment. But it seems like Lacazette might take it to the end of the season. But there's no new I think at the moment it's game by game basis.
Yeah.
Rumours it could be Lacazette. Even Odegaard is being rumoured for.
What about Ben White?
I don't know how much of a leader he is, but potentially. I mean, even him, he's very young, especially for a centre back.
Well, yes, he is. Well, who's their 2 most experienced heads ever played in most games, Aubameyang and Xhaka, are both lost the captaincy.
Lacazette though is who's going to be probably lead. I mean, it looks like Aubameyang might be out in January. They're going to try and offload him.
I think so. His behaviour's been awful lately, anyway, hasn't it? Like, look at when he went to the AFCON. Was it the AFCON Awards or something? And he literally went in basically chinos and a shirt.
Yeah.
And everyone else is suited up. Like, the man just doesn't care about anything. Like,
but to miss training to get a tattoo.
Yeah, I mean,
he knew what he was doing 100%. He doesn't want to.
He's also travelling in the middle of a pandemic irresponsibly. Like,
Yeah, he's done at Arsenal. I don't think we'll see him play again.
No, I think he had a flash in the pan season where he was really good,
and he's always been decent.
Yeah, but I think lately he's kind of drifted off a bit.
I mean, since he got signed his new contract, it sort of says a lot, really, doesn't it? Since he signs that contract, he drops off in form. But yeah, rightfully so. Arteta, for once, actually, managers don't usually like have the stones to do something like this, but to publicly take his captaincy. I mean, some people might complain that it was a public thing that they took it, but it was always going to come out that he's lost it. So,
but I suppose you have to put a statement in at that point as well. Like,
yeah,
it is publicly on the news that your man's mistraining to go to Barcelona to have a tattoo.
Yeah.
The man has literally mugged
it on
your
Instagram
whole
as well.
club off. Yeah, take it off him.
Yeah, you have to. And like, you can't put certain players on pedestals. Even the Messis and Ronaldos, you'd think if they were captains of their clubs, they'd take it off them. If they did something like this.
Yeah, and sometimes a manager has to have a moment like this to kind of put his foot down and go, no.
Yeah,
I'm in charge, lad. Like, nah, man.
And I don't actually think Arsenal need a Aubameyang this season. A lot of their goals aren't coming from that central striker role.
No, Aubameyang's been on the wing a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like, they keep deploying him on the wing, and Emile Smith-Rowe's been fantastic on the left.
But Emile Smith-Rowe's getting goals. Saka's providing great runs and assists.
Odegaard's starting to play now.
Yeah, Martinelli. Who's come back from injury. They don't need... obviously, having a player like Aubameyang's good. But he hasn't been good this season so far. And you'd argue Lacazette's probably been a better player than him this season.
Overall play, yeah, I'd say so.
But, yeah, right decision, I think we both agree, don't we?
100%.
Another match happened in midweek. Wolves versus Brighton. Brighton carrying on this awful run of form. And Wolves hadn't scored in 4.
Well, yeah, I think the issue now is Brighton fans are turning on Graham Potter.
Yeah, and I don't know why. He's turned them into a half-decent Premier League
I think
side.
Brighton forget where they came from. I think they forgot. And don't get me wrong, as a Birmingham fan, if we went up and we had a really good season, would you expect progress? Probably. But they also need to expect that there's going to be tough seasons and tough times happening. Every team has it.
I mean, you look at Chelsea at the moment. They're in a bit of a rut, aren't they? And we'll get onto that in a minute. But he's done so well for Brighton. Like, last season, one of the highest XGs in the league for a team who was battling relegation. They started to turn that around at the beginning of the season, started to get the goals.
And you just lost Ben White.
Yeah. And I think that...
Or was that Leeds? I think it might have been Leeds.
No,
cool.
It's like, but like, you go from battling relegation. I know they're getting dragged back into it at the moment, but you go from that to at the moment, well, at the start of the season, fighting for Europa. He was Ben White from Brighton, I think. He was in loan at Leeds, I think, the season before. But he had a great season at Brighton. And you look, and like, I know you're dropping back into that relegation battle at the moment, but all you need is a few games to turn it around. You had a good footstool on it, like.
And this is the hardest time of the year for all teams.
Yeah. This
Christmas period is brutal.
I mean, they're coming into Christmas, they're still 9 points clear of relegation.
Well, yeah.
They're still in a great position, and at the start of the season, you would have probably expected Brighton to be in and around a relegation battle anyway.
Oh, yeah, you would have. I think Brighton can still finish anywhere from 18th to 14th.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be...
Even
obviously,
higher,
you don't want 18th, but anywhere 16th and above, you count your lucky stars and go sound next season.
I mean, you look at Huddersfield a few seasons ago. They started off and now like top 4 for a while.
Yeah.
And then they started to drop back as well. And then the season after... Was it the season after they got relegated, wasn't it? And Sheffield United... Yeah. When they finished 4th. Was it 4th or 5th?
Do you remember that whole season with Giovanni?
Yeah.
They were like second till Christmas. Like,
it happens. Like, you have good runs, you have bad runs. But the main goal for teams like Brighton is stay in the league. I mean, that 100+ million a year you get from the TV rights, is it?
That alone makes it worth it.
Yeah, like, at the moment, they want to stay in the league.
And
obviously,
parachute payments might be coming off, like, depleting. Thank God.
If you're a team like that and you're not battling for Europa, obviously you want to finish high, but the first goal has to be that 40-point apparent
I
safety.
don't even think 40 points is. I think it's less than that at the minute.
Maybe this season, yeah.
Yeah, the way teams are going, like you're probably looking at 35.
But you always know as a team if you hit 40 points,
Yeah, 40 is the golden number, isn't it?
Has there ever been a team relegated with 40 points? I don't know.
I know we went down, I think, on 38.
I don't think there might have been, but I think that's usually the magic number. 40 points, you're up. But yeah, we've got two more games from the midweek. We've got Chelsea, Everton. Everton's starting to pick up a bit of steam, and Chelsea losing form pretty much.
Yeah.
And we said this actually. I mean, we were talking last week how we thought Chelsea maybe were exceeding their level a little bit. And I mean, we said at the start of the season we think Liverpool will City title, but Chelsea was surprising us. But you can see this little drop in form at the moment, and you can sort of see them other two teams pushing away. Mm-hmm. And Everton, I know they lost 3-1 to Palace on the weekend just gone, or when this pod goes out, maybe the weekend before. But beating Arsenal and getting a draw with Chelsea is two big results for Benitez.
Yeah, massive results. And I think it's annoyed me because I've seen a lot of Everton posts and stuff lately online saying, he needs to go, and Rafa's not very good, and the man won the Champions League with Liverpool. The man built and don't get me wrong, he had a good team, but he made that Liverpool team really, really good back in the day. You know, I know he had Torres, I know he had Gerrard, I know he had his Pepe Reinas and his Daniel Aggers and his Martin Skirtles, but the man knows what he's doing. And I think Everton are getting too big for the boots, really. Like, they think they should be.
Never too big for the boot.
No, but they are. They think they think they should be battling Champions League still.
No.
You know, gone are your days of Tim Cahill, and gone are your days of Marouane Fellaini and all them big players.
One thing I think Ancelotti did badly was he got a lot of average players on very big wages.
Yes.
And I think they're really... I'm pretty sure they don't have much leeway in the transfer market. That's why they got people like Demarai Gray on a bargain. Because of the financial fair play.
Side note, he's been on the sign of the season, though.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the season.
I mean, for what, 1 point something mil?
Yeah, it's like, I might be wrong, I think it was 1.7 maybe.
Yeah,
something like that.
He had a great academy, though, didn't
he? Maybe. But, I mean, even like the James Rodriguez, who didn't even turn up for training, did he? And he was on ridiculous wages.
Cried his eyes out when Ancelotti left, said, I want to go play for Ancelotti, and then went to the Saudi League.
Ridiculous.
What appeal do you have, Everton, if you're losing one of your best players to the Saudi League?
I mean, you got like Richarlison, who I thinks is bigger than he is. Thinks he's better than he is. I mean, when he got taken off against Crystal Palace, he threw the biggest tantrum. And like, the thing was, to play Rondon, obviously maybe not the most prolific striker you want, but he was deadly when he came on. I could have saw him getting a draw when he came on. Richarlison was doing nothing.
Rondon's a different kind of player, isn't he? He's a big, beefy unit. If your little flashy players like Richarlison ain't working, why not go with that?
And has Richarlison even been that good this season to warrant this bit of ego he's got that he deserves? I mean, I know he's been injured for a bit, and I know they've had a bit of an injury crisis.
In the summer, I believe PSG were looking at him, and he's just been a bit of a...
He's like, I'm PSG
bit
worthy.
Of a div since then, anyway.
Well, really, if he went to PSG, he'll be sitting on the bench and getting 20 minutes in the game if he's lucky.
There was a time 10, 12 years ago when Zigic scored a couple of goals that Man City apparently inquired about him. Doesn't mean he's good enough to play for him. Just means they had a look at him.
I don't think he's... I mean, was it Watford he was at before?
Yes.
Then who signed him? It was the guy who came from Watford, wasn't it? The manager.
Yeah, Marco Silva.
Yeah, and I think he's been too big for his boots since then. I mean, I don't think he's that good. And the way he threw that tantrum when he came off, I was like, what are you doing, mate? You need to just leave.
Yeah, and going on to speaking on Watford, I did feel sorry for him in the midweek. This game against Burnley was massive for them. You had all the results that played went Watford's way.
Yeah.
Burnley had 2 less days to recover. Watford were up for this, fresh, and then on the day, cancel it. Like, I obviously speak back and forth with a good friend of mine, Mike, and he said to me, he was like, we really need a result. Yeah. And I honestly could have backed them to win 2-3-0 that night.
Yeah.
Burnley looked tired, they looked struggling.
And they were just going to park up the bus. They're in the relegation. I mean, Watford are ahead of them anyway, but they've really been struggling recently.
And I can't see... I can't see unless something drastic happens in January for Burnley, which they haven't got a lot of money. You know, the pace that Watford would have thrown on them that day, it would have just surely been a whitewash for Watford.
Yeah, and like the other match was Leicester City vs Tottenham, which would have been a great game, I think.
I think so.
But we move. And what other game was suspended?
United Brighton, or is that today?
I think that was meant to be this weekend. But United match was suspended, wasn't it? Yeah, United Brentford, which Brentford
Both
at home.
teams got COVID riddled at the minute, though.
Yeah, and we're moving on to the weekend fixtures in a second, and we'll talk about that COVID stuff, which is pretty mad. But last one was Liverpool Newcastle. Great goal, wasn't it? In that game, and you
From
actually,
Trent.
yeah, and you actually were a bit annoyed about one of the Liverpool decisions, weren't you?
I think just on the okay, so after watching it back, I get it. In real time, I was a bit annoyed that Newcastle. I felt Newcastle were a bit grudged. In terms of Newcastle went 1-0 up, then there's a corner that's come in. I didn't see what happened. All I've seen is someone's down, holding their head.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been led to believe head injury, stop the game. No matter what. The ref has allowed play to go on, a cross to come in, Jota's had a shot, saved and tapped in a rebound.
Yeah.
Now, there was a decision like that last week. It didn't lead to a goal against Cardiff, and that rolled me up a bit. Cause I was like, yeah, remember?
Yeah.
I was like, hang on, we had Sanderson down for about 10 minutes with head injury, and the ref was like, no.
One of the things which seems to be happening a bit more now because of this new head injury rule,
People are.
it's very hard because obviously if someone's got a head injury, you want to stop as soon as possible. But to find the legitimate head injuries,
And I think your issue is your people like David Luiz back in the day, who did the little, have you seen it, the eye one? Where he holds his face, just peeks with his eye, like, oh, I've been giving it cool. Like,
and it's like, imagine if Joey Barton was playing right now. Every attack the team had, he'll be on the floor holding his head.
no, of course.
Like,
And watching it back, a Newcastle player did headbutt the other player.
yeah, I mean,
It's a Fred situation with Arsenal, like, in terms of Fred stepped on De Gea's foot, so it isn't a foul.
yeah. But you have to be so careful with head injuries because they can literally be life-changing things. And
Of course.
You want to start the game as soon as possible, but you also have people going to start using this and start, in essence, cheating for their advantage, and it's so hard for a referee.
Have you seen they're assisting Mike Dean for Trent's goal?
Oh,
Yeah, because apparently the run, if you watch it back, he makes a run in front of Trent, and they're all saying drag the defender away. It literally, if you watch it in real time, it looks like Mike Dean's made some striker-esque run, pulling centre-backs away.
One of the biggest characters in refereeing. But yeah, Newcastle, I mean, it's never nice to go up early at Liverpool because you know they're just going to be at you for the whole game.
Oh, yeah, I was at my staff meal, and I literally went outside for like a minute.
Yeah.
I walked back in, and it was 1-0, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, but at that
It was like
point,
7 minutes in, John Joe Savage against his old club.
that was a great goal as well.
But
Thunderbolt.
if you score 7 minutes in against Liverpool at home, when Liverpool are at home, you know for the next 83 minutes you're going to get battered.
Well, you say that, but this is the bit that was really frustrating to see. Liverpool make it 1-1 from kickoff. Alan Saint-Maximin's 1-on-1 and puts it straight at Alisson.
And that was their only other shot on target of the whole game.
But then you got that could have been the 2-1, and then
But you
Liverpool
think
are
even
pushing
then,
again. Oh yeah,
They'd be battering.
I think Newcastle at best would have got a point. At very best.
When you see the domination, 75% possession for Liverpool.
And this is Eddie Howe, who likes to attack and be on the ball.
18 shots to 4. And like you said, Eddie Howe likes to attack. But 4 shots, they were on the back foot the whole game pretty much after that goal. And, I mean, it's for Liverpool, it's a win they expected. For Newcastle, it's a loss they expected. But maybe...
Newcastle need to stop expecting losses, though, now.
Especially with January coming up. We're going to talk about the transfer window in a minute, aren't we? About especially Newcastle, what they're getting in.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we'll just quickly first talk about the weekend fixtures coming up. A lot of them cancelled due to...
COVID.
But we've got a lot of fixtures coming up. Well, not a lot, 5 fixtures. Half of them being cancelled. So today we've actually got 2 matches. Villa versus Burnley. And we're recording this on Saturday, that's why we're saying today.
Recording it Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm only saying that now because, let's be honest, there is a high chance that some games could get cancelled today.
Yeah, especially tomorrow's games. Villa, Burnley, Leeds at Arsenal today. And then tomorrow, Newcastle, Man City, Wolves, Chelsea, Tottenham versus Liverpool. Big game, that one. I hope that one doesn't get cancelled. but I could see it getting cancelled.
We're at that time of the year again, aren't we, where it's all going to happen again. I just hope we don't lose fans in stadiums again.
Yeah, it's hard not to get into politics on this, but in the moment, it's so hard not to with all these COVID rules.
It's party time, isn't it, really?
With a potential circuit breaker they're thinking about, we could see fans out of stadiums again, which will be sad because I've loved going to football games. I haven't even seen my own team yet, Portsmouth. We're hoping to go there early next year, and we live quite far away, so we have to drive down. But even just going to the Blues games, just to see live football again, it's like no fan stadium is completely different.
No.
Like even watching on TV, it just looks empty. Like it looks like it's a hollow game.
Yeah.
But these weekend fixtures, should we have a little bit of a prediction going through, Jay? These 5.
Okay, go on.
By the time you hear this, the matches are most of them would have happened. Villa Burnley, I think Villa win.
Yeah.
Leeds Arsenal win.
Yeah, I think Leeds don't have a chance. I think it's 2-3-0 Arsenal on that one. I'll say the same for Villa, 2-0.
Yeah. Newcastle and Man City, I think could be a whitewash.
Yeah, 6.
6-0, I think 4-0.
And maybe Newcastle get 1-6-1.
Wolves Chelsea. I think that'll be a tough game. Wolves are very hard to break down, and Chelsea not in the best form.
1-1.
I think it could be a draw. I think I'm going to draw as well. I was going to say maybe it could go 2-1 either side, but I'm going to go for a draw on that one. And then Tottenham Liverpool again. Tough game. Conte's new. He's sort of tightened them up a bit more defensively, which they were struggling with. But I think Liverpool's still in a smash.
Is this game going ahead, is it?
At the moment, as time recording, it's going ahead.
Yeah, I think Liverpool make a statement this game again.
And I think
very much with AFCON coming up, they know that they've got to ruthlessly deal with teams.
Yeah. So, that's a little prediction of this weekend fixtures, the ones which are happening at time of recording. But the big games really to watch out for here in terms of league stuff. Obviously, Leeds, Arsenal
Tottenham
Liverpool. Hopefully, Chelsea can turn that form around and make it into a 3-horse race again at the top. But it's interesting that the 3 top teams are all playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's weekend fixtures coming up. And we've just got one more thing to talk about, really, haven't we?
Transfer window.
Where do we think it is going? It opens up in just under 2 weeks.
I suppose the case is, if you get a league table up for us, John.
Yeah.
I suppose the case is at this point, who needs what? Obviously, Newcastle need goals.
Yeah.
Severely.
I mean,
so we'll start from the top.
Yeah.
Man City, they need a centre forward, I'd say.
I mean, you say that, but they've only conceded 9 goals and scored 40 in 17 games. Do they need a striker at the moment? I mean, obviously a striker, a world-class striker, but they make them unreal.
I think they changed them losses into draws and them draws into wins.
They could be. You think they could be 17-0?
Potentially.
A striker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree they need a striker, but I don't know if it's as needed as
look at the game against Wolves when they won 1-0 last week we spoke about.
Yeah.
If in the Premier League, how many times have you seen a team get battered and then score?
Yeah, no, you're right.
They're just missing a little edge for me.
Liverpool, I don't think they need anybody at the moment.
I think they'll get a loan or two in, though, just because of the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah. I see
or bring some youth. I think Harvey Elliott's hopefully back soon.
He's doing full training in January again, I think it was. And people who think it could have been out for 2 years of how bad the injury was.
And that's like a new signing.
Nice. Yeah.
When you lose a player that long, it is like a new signing again, isn't it?
It's great to have him back. Chelsea, I mean, I would say they need a striker.
Now they've got Roman and Werner back now.
Yeah, I don't think they need anybody at the moment. I can see them sitting back and not doing any business.
Potentially, but at the same time, Ancelotti. No, not Ancelotti. What's his name?
Tuchel.
Yeah. But Abramovich. Abramovich doesn't like to sit back.
Oh, that's why you said Ancelotti. I was thinking, but the manager was like, what?
Yeah. English isn't my strongest point.
Do you speak British?
Pretty much. But yeah, I think Abramovich want to make at least a signing just because he's got money and he can in it. Yeah. Like, banter.
Arsenal, I don't think they need any business. I mean, a lot of his top teams, I don't think need any business.
They need to replace Aubameyang if he goes.
If he goes, maybe. I mean, but even so, like, they've got some good youth. Is Nikita on loan anywhere?
Nketiah, I think he's in France.
Is he in France? Okay, maybe they'll have to
swear he's the silver team of the week.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he is. Yeah. I don't know. Is it France? Is that?
I think he's in the French league.
Yeah, probably.
Or he's French and I'm being horrendously wrong. But I'll die on my hill.
They might need a striker or an attacking player. cover that if Aubameyang goes. But apart from that, I think they invested a lot in the summer, didn't they? I think they were one of the highest spenders in the league, maybe the highest spenders, and not on world class talent or world class established talent, but young players,
potential,
like the potential players. But yeah, maybe a striker, especially if some of their young ones are out on loan.
West Ham, I think now they're out of European competitions.
They might want to invest to try and get back in.
Yeah, but I think they need a striker.
I heard they wanted Lingard back, but I've also heard he might be going to Newcastle.
Oh, Lingard would be a shout for them, though.
So I reckon they would want to invest just to try and push. Cause they're dropping out of this race at the moment.
I think they need a striker. I think their only fit striker, like technically, is I know Bowen can play there, but Antonio.
Yeah.
And Antonio's 30 odd. He can't keep doing it week in, week out, week in, week out.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see someone all right going there, to be fair. West Ham have a big fan base, big appeal, big stadium.
Yeah. I see what you mean, yeah.
United, did they want anything? Will they need anything?
I mean, they've spent a lot in the summer.
Mm.
I don't think they... So they brought Sancho in, didn't they? They brought Varane in. Brought Ronaldo
is he still
in.
injured?
I mean, one game is in, one game is not. It's just so injury prone. You never know anymore. He hasn't been playing recently, so I'd assume so. I mean, even though they didn't spend big bucks on people like Ronaldo and Varane, the wages they'll be demanding. I don't know if they could afford... I mean, they probably could afford it. It's Man United. But I don't know if they will afford.
Oh, I think this is... And I think this is the end of Pogba at United, though.
Yeah, it could be. Because they probably want to get a bit of money for him, won't they, before?
I think Reckitt's going to get rid of him.
Tottenham? I mean, for a team in 7th place, they've scored 16 goals. With a combination of Harry Kane and Son up top.
I suppose your main goal is, can I keep hold of Son and Kane? Another striker, potentially.
I was thinking...
Maybe another, like, random Portuguese league striker on loan.
I mean, we've heard that Conte may have been given over 100 million to spend in January.
Yeah, but like I said last week, that's because Harry Kane's off.
Yeah.
It's definitely... Levy hasn't been 100% honest with that one. Yeah, you got 100 mil, have I? Yeah, and Kane's gone.
Where's that coming from? You don't need to know. Nah, it's okay.
I just saved it over the years. It's bail money still.
So they could definitely heavily invest. Maybe in the summer, maybe in January, but we could see some big signings there.
Oh, yeah.
Was it last season before they signed Bergwijn from PSV?
I think it was last summer, yeah.
Well, it was January, wasn't it? It was during the Tottenham documentary. Because he came in, didn't he?
Oh, yes.
It was not January just gone, the one before that.
Under the Jose era.
Yeah. The one before that? No.
Wolves?
No, last January.
Have they ever really replaced Jota?
No.
And don't get me wrong, Podence is good. Adama's good. Jimenez is coming back, but I think you need some kind of plan B.
I think they could invest, especially in the attacking areas. I mean, defensively, they're doing all right.
Gian Martino isn't getting any younger either.
They've got the 4th best defensive record in the league. Behind the top 3, of course. I mean, they've only scored 13 goals, so that's where you'll want to invest. They're, I think, the lowest scorers, maybe Newcastle, or not Newcastle, Norwich below them. But they're in 8th place. They need to invest in that attacking lineup, or at least change some tactics to make them get some goals. Adama Traore can only run; he can't shoot.
Like, someone put on the other day, he's just muscles and vibes. That man, like.
They need to invest in that. I mean, Leicester, where do they need? I mean, Vardy's getting on a bit.
I've been saying this for 3 years though. Vardy's getting on, man. Vardy's getting on. He just keeps going.
He doesn't listen, does he?
Like, the man just...
It's that Red Bull he drinks.
Oh, I'm convinced his blood is probably 50% Red Bull. Like, what a guy.
Investing wise,
we can't have Vardy retire.
No.
I love his celebrations too much. The housery that this man causes.
He's good. But I think Leicester will probably invest a bit to try and push for that top 4 again.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not there at the moment. I'm thinking maybe they promised Brendan Rodgers a bit of money in January for him to stay and not go to United. Who knows?
Yeah, but Rodgers as well. I think he's building something there.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of being patient, I think. They won the FA Cup last year. He's made his statement. They did all right. They had a tough Europa League group, in all fairness.
Yeah.
You know, Napoli was always going to be the difficult.
But I think realistically, they should have been looking to get through that group. When you look at West Ham top in their group, you think Leicester should be getting 2nd place at least, and they failed. Sadly, I know it's hard to say, but they did fail. Let's hope they can turn it round and start pushing towards top 6, top 7. But I mean, the next few teams, you've got Aston Villa. Maybe Steven Gerrard would like to get a few players in. Hopefully, some of his Rangers players, Kent, see some of them in the Premier League would be nice. Crystal Palace, I don't think they need to invest. They brought a few players in summer.
If anything, they just want to make that Gallagher a permanent off Chelsea and beg, really. That would be your first point of call. Like, that man...
It has a great season.
He's class.
Brentford, I don't know if they can afford to, really.
Brentford are sitting all right, and they're still here with the loss of their captain for the last 2 weeks via COVID.
Yeah.
Like, they're still getting goals. They're still playing well.
9 points clear of relegation still.
Yeah, they're sound. They could get dragged into it, but I doubt it.
And again, I don't think Brighton will sign anybody. I don't think Everton can sign anybody, really. Like, financially.
I can see Everton making a signing.
I'm pretty sure they can't make any signings.
They'll get rid of someone.
You think?
Yeah, signing.
Get Richarlison off.
Yeah, I think he will go.
Get some money.
I think Richarlison will actually go.
Southampton, don't want them to invest. Leeds.
I think all of Leeds' injuries coming back is pretty much like new signings for them.
Yeah.
Your Calvin Phillips and stuff, when they're fully fit again, like, I think Leeds will very swiftly climb up the table.
I think their manager's too good for him
Bielsa,
not to.
Yeah, Bielsa's too good to go down, I think.
You hope.
I would like to see Leeds go down. That'd be banter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't want to see Bielsa go down. I like Bielsa.
No, he'll go to a Prem team.
Yeah.
I mean, he might learn English at that point. How long has he been managing Leeds? Come on, grow up, mate.
What for Burnley? Any signings you see there? Even Norwich. Norwich got a lot of loans in, haven't they? I can't say they're making massive. I mean, January's already...
Watford have a new keeper coming in. I know that much. A young goalkeeper.
But January's usually a time when teams don't invest too much.
But I think if you want to stay up, I think Ranieri's got something up his sleeve.
Could be signings there.
Watford are literally... I mean, I'm just looking at the thing again where they've lost 11 games and drew 1. Like, Watford are...
So close.
Are literally like one decision every game, one moment in a game at the minute, and eventually the Tinkerman's going to get it.
Yeah.
I think Watford have too much... If Watford can get through the African Cup of Nations and either be just above relegation or just touching it, then they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Once Sarr comes back from his big injury as well, you know, if Dennis somehow gets overseen, they're laughing. But, you know, there's a lot of... their captain, Atrusta Kong, he could be going.
Yeah.
You know, we're going back onto AFCON like last week, but I think they do need something. They've got a lot of players out on loan, but I think they need some kind of proven like player just to come in for a little bit.
Yeah, and just give that stability.
I think midfield-wise, I don't think they need anything really. They've got enough.
TC in there, mate.
Tom Cleverley's been good for him, actually. A little workhorse, I know. And Sissoko.
Yes,
everyone gets moved to Sissoko's there.
Great signing from them.
Oh yeah, he's just... Everyone forgets he's won the Champions League, and there's a reason he was in that team.
Yeah,
in the final. Sorry.
Yeah, fine. I remember that it was Ronaldo versus Sissoko in the final. Both of them used to play for.
Yeah, everyone forgets he got to the final for a reason on merit. He's a good little player.
Yeah, he's very good, and maybe he's not a top 6 sort of player, but he's still very solid.
Honest worker though. That's what they want.
And big. Oh, he's strong, isn't he? Last up, Newcastle. They're not last, but we kept to last just because the amount of signings they might be making.
So at the minute, you've got any half-decent footballer currently has Newcastle's name around them.
I mean, I think they could make as much as 8 signings in
Their
January.
first priority, if you're a Newcastle manager, is you need to get the checkbook out and go, maximum, how much a week to stay, please. I know he's not a great goal scorer, but he has just that ability on the wing to just make stuff click.
And I think signings-wise, they need a defender, a midfielder, striker. Yeah. All the way through.
Dubravka's fine in goal.
Yeah, I don't think they need to focus on keeper at this moment in time.
No. I think they need depth more than anything.
But I also think they need a few stars to come through.
Like if
they sign Lingard, that's big. I've heard Coutinho might be going there.
I've heard Coutinho's name bashed about it.
Tarkovsky, how do you say it, from
Tarkovsky,
Burnley.
from Burnley.
They need a striker. I wonder what striker they could get in. Because let's not forget, I mean...
They want a striker, but they're not going to get a big name. So they're going to get an alright name, like a decently well-known striker. Someone like a Belotti.
Yeah, someone like that, someone who's done well in their league.
Yeah.
And see what they can do in the Prem.
Maybe even a proven, decent Prem. You know, they want a number 9. That's what they need more than anything. A decent number 9.
I mean, look, they've won one game all season, but they've scored 18 goals. They've been relatively lucky in some of these games, and their defence is just awful. I mean, they're minus 19 goal difference, second worst in the league.
It's a Watford situation. I know Watford have 21.
Yeah. I mean, they've won 4.
I mean, they've only conceded. They've got a minus goal difference of minus 10. They've lost 11 games.
Yeah.
That's mad.
It's crazy.
Like,
that's Watford, isn't it? You're on about there.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, looking at it there, it's kind of like, oh wow, like all these teams down there. And you're literally one weekend away from just going. Most teams there are 2 results off flying up to 12th.
I mean, every team is within 3 points of getting 17, of getting out of the relegation zone.
Southampton are not as clear as they think they are.
No.
Looking at that.
Especially if they don't sign anybody. And if they lose. I mean, I would love Ward-Prowse to go to Newcastle.
I mean, if Burnley win both games in hand, and Watford win their game in hand, Southampton drop to 16th, 17th. Like, it's so tight down there.
I mean, but you look at Newcastle and Norwich, they need to sort out their defensive problems.
Norwich,
by far, the worst defensive
Norwich have gotten better under Smith.
Yeah.
Much better under Dean Smith.
But Newcastle, they need to sort out these defensive problems.
They're vice versa, aren't they? They're like the yin and yang of the problem here. One's not good at scoring goals and one's not good at defending.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, Norwich have shipped a fair amount of goals, but they've improved lately.
Yeah. And I think, out of all the teams in the league, we're going to see Newcastle make the biggest moves, I think.
Newcastle are going to, I'm calling it now, they're going to make some random signing and it's just going to shock us all. Like, it's going to be, it's not going to be a world beater.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's going to be someone mad.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all we had down on the list for today, didn't we?
Yeah, that's, you know, we were going to obviously take a longer discussion. However, the joyous COVID took over a lot of that.
Yeah, especially for this weekend's fixtures, and the fixtures has gone.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, I suppose we just sit back. Even a lot of the Championship and League One, everything's being called off at the minute, so we're at a tender time. We're going to still try and do this weekly. We're going to, you know, even if games are called off, we're just going to discuss January and
what's happening in the
football
world.
And we're going to try not to talk about politics and
as much as possible, but sometimes it slips in, especially with today's climate.
Well, of course, but it is what it is, and you know, we thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe if you are new to this. Obviously, find us on Spotify, it will go out first on Spotify, and then we'll drop it on YouTube after,
and maybe some other platforms.
Yeah, we're looking at potential Apple, and we're looking at other we're looking at other podcast kind of venues with that. But yeah, big thanks to you all for listening, and we'll see you all. Hopefully, hear us off next week.
Yeah, see ya
in a bit.